In this video, I'm going to show you how Luccas got 28 players to come down to his futsal trial, costing him $388 in ad spend, or said differently, $14 to get a player to come down to this trial session because he was launching a new futsal program. And so I'm going to show you exactly how he did it. The first thing that we did for him was create good ads on Facebook and Instagram because we know this is where parents live. And so beyond actually making sure that we get the targeting right, which I'll jump into, when the parent sees the ad, they actually need to stop their scroll and get hooked and express interest, watch the entire ad and then click through. So the actual ad itself has to be really good and spark their interest. And this is where understanding your customer comes into play. And so what we did for him is we created many different kinds of ads. And as you can see in the amount spent column, they have different ad spend because we noticed certain ads like this one here and this one here were working better. So we allocated more of the ad spend towards it. And so by creating good ads, when a parent sees it, they click through. And that's how we got so many parents to actually book in the trial session. Now, beyond that, as I mentioned before, is the targeting, making sure we're actually targeting the right people. Because if that ad is presented to, a kid, or it's presented to someone who isn't your customer, there's no point, is there? So the first part of it is actually the targeting. And so what we did for him was made sure we're targeting the parent or the person, right? And the second part of targeting is that parent had to be in a 10-kilometer radius of his training facility where he was running these trial sessions, because obviously if they live on the other side of the country, it doesn't matter, does it? Because they can't come. The next part of it is that this parent has to have a kid who plays soccer. Part of this targeting comes down to the ad itself, but then on the targeting on the back end, when you run Facebook and Instagram ads, we could do certain little filters that we know to make sure that this parent actually has a child that plays soccer. Beyond that, there are other requirements that we included in the actual ad itself, in a form as well, to make sure that, they were a certain age. And if you want other requirements, they might include, skill level, if you want more advanced kids, and stuff like that. So this is the, broad level targeting that you can follow if you want to actually run ads. And this is the necessary targeting at a very minimum. And that's what we did for Luccas. And so beyond targeting and creating the ad, we've now got parents who've clicked on the ad and they've expressed interest. Now what? Because it doesn't just stop there. After they click on the ad and they actually express interest, so we've got the right person with the targeting and we got them interested because they clicked on the ad. Now what we did when they expressed interest in that trial session is we had a system to convert them into actually booking for the trial session. So we had a landing page for them that we created, and then a calendar system where they actually booked into this session. As you can see on the 21st of July up here is the one day that all these people, as you can see, these are different people showing up to the trial session. And so there's different ways you can have a system, whether it's a form, whether it's a web page, many different ways of doing it. This is how we did it for Luccas. Beyond that, I'm going to show you the actual maths behind it, because the maths is very important and it will make a lot of sense. So he spent $388 on ads, as I said, and 28 parents actually booked in a time to come down to the trial session. Now, this is the 21st of July, and right now it's the 29th of July, which is why I'm estimating the amount of customers that he's going to get from that based on all our clients' data, which is a 50% conversion rate of the people who show up to trial sessions. Now, again, I'm being transparent here and saying this is a conservative estimate based off our data and all the clients who run these trial sessions, in that you should be converting at least 1 and 2 who show up to a trial into a paying customer, right? And I'll get into it later to show you even lower numbers to show that this still works. But for the case of the actual maths, we'll say 14 of the 28 actually go ahead and become a customer, which would mean he's spending about $28 to get a brand new customer. Now, let's just remember that number, $28 to get a new player or a customer. Now, that's going to be in the back of your mind, right? Beyond that, let's just say conservatively, it's about $30 a session and, $120 per month. And again, this is industry average really. And so you might have a different cost per session, or maybe a player stays a different amount of months. They might stay more, they might stay less. This stuff varies. And so this is the average that I've seen. Let's just say, they spend $120 per month or $30 a session and they stay for 8 months, right? Now, that would mean, if you multiply those two, that the value of one player to you would be $960 to you. Now, you can do the maths yourself on this. But again, when we compare the cost to get a player, which is $28, to the lifetime value of a player, or how much that player actually pays you over their lifetime, there's obviously a big discrepancy here. And you can see how this system's starting to come together. And as you can see, how we get such good results for Luccas to get all these parents coming down to the trial session, and how this system actually works. And so $28 to get a customer, that customer is worth $960. based on the maths that I broke down for you, right? And so that's a 34x difference, which basically means you put $1 into a machine and get $34 out. Just to put that in perspective, there is not an investment alive that I can think of that does that, which shows the power of investing in your own business because of the returns that you can get from this, right? And so you put $1 in and get $34 out. Now, this is assuming 14 of his 28 players. Again, we're yet to see. I believe he's on track for this, but we will see, because obviously there's a process to where parents sign up after the session. They might sign up a few weeks later when he's following up with them. But again, taking the conservative estimate based on the averages that we've experienced and probably the average that you'd experience and the percentage of people who show up to a trial that convert, as long as you've got good training, it's about 50%, right? I mean, our best clients do maybe 80% or so. Depends on the training and the sales skills as well, but we'll say 50%. So let's just say these numbers are based on the fact that 14 of 28 would actually convert. But I'm going to show you even more of a conservative estimate. I'm going to show you what would happen if this was less players. So let's just say the $960 in player lifetime value, pretty simple to understand from the maths I did before. And we can keep this as the consistent variable, right? Now let's say only 7 of the 28 as opposed to 14. So half of 14. So 25%, 1 in 4 players, which again is extremely low, but we'll just say this for the example to show you that this still works even if you don't convert a lot of players after they show up to a trial. Let's just say only 7 of 28, so 25% actually become a customer after, they come to this trial session, right? That would mean it's costing you $55 to get a new player and still a 17x return. So you put $1 in and get $17 out. Again, insane. But I'm going to go even further with it. We're going to keep the $960 player lifetime value, but let's just say only 3 of 28. So 12%, 3 of 28, just to put that in perspective. I'd hope that your numbers were better than this, because then it'll come down to the quality of your training, obviously, because these 28 people, as we did with the ad targeting and what I showed you, they're qualified to be a customer in that their child's the right age, they play soccer, they're in the local area, and they're obviously, willing to take, a few hours out of their day to come down for the trial session, travel, and so they're committed. And so if the numbers are this low, even if they are this low, the numbers would mean that it costs $129 to get a player and you'd still get a 7x return over the lifetime of one player. So you put $1 in, get $7 out, right? And so putting in this perspective, I've tried to put it in this perspective to show you that even at the worst case scenario, the maths behind this system and the maths behind the results that we got, Luccas, would pan out to something like this, right? Now, not only that, besides the trial that we advertised for him, the fact that with NXTPRO and with Luccas, he's spent over $2,000 already with us. And the fact that he's spent that much money shows that you wouldn't throw that money away for no reason. You'd obviously only be spending that money if it was working. Again, he only spent $300 odd for this actual trial compared to the 2,000 plus he spent overall for all the stuff we've advertised for him. And he wouldn't be spending that if it wasn't working, because if we look at the actual numbers, he spent $2,000 plus dollars, but he got 814 leads or parents that expressed interest based on the targeting that I showed you before in the local area. If you think about how insane that is in terms of visibility. And so each of these parents cost him $2.67. Again, this is Australian dollars. So that's about $1.80 USD. It cost him to get one parent to express interest. In what world would you not pay $1.80, like literally a couple dollars? You just pay a couple dollars and you get a parent who has, all the attributes and requirements when it comes to they have a child, their child plays soccer, they're in the local area. In what world will you not spend that money? And so I break that down just to show you that beyond the trial we ran for him, we're obviously doing very well for him in general in terms of the trial sessions. But when it came to that trial in particular, we obviously did very well in getting those 28 people to actually come down to the trial. And we'll do an update on how many of those he converts. But that was the rundown. If you've already booked a call with us and you're watching this after having booked a call with either me or someone on the team or one of our coaches, then I'm looking forward to our call. If you're watching this and you haven't yet booked an actual call with us to learn about how we get these results for clients, then I don't know what you're doing. You should go ahead and book that call, because we'll give you a personalized game plan to show you exactly how you can grow your business, whether we work together or not. And if we do work together, obviously we can get you some amazing results like this. And hopefully I'll be making a video like this for your business.